Today on Hands On Photography, this is 100 episodes of Hop, and I am, extremely honored and big milestone for me. So we're going to do something a little bit different. I'm sitting down with a photographer that I just absolutely enjoy. I love their work and I love their attitude and I love what they're doing just for the community of photography. And quite frankly, I love just how raw this person is. So y'all stay tuned. This is going to be a lot of fun as I sit down and chat with Seth Miranda. Let's check it out.
This is TWiT.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? I am Ant Pruitt, and this is Hands On Photography here on TWiT TV. Hope y'all are doing well. I'm unbelievable as always, and as a matter of fact, I'm a little bit jittery right now because I'm a little bit fired up because I have a guest joining me today. But before we get into that, let me go ahead and tell you all a little bit about the show, just in case this is your first time popping in. This is a podcast where I like to sit down and share different tips and tricks that are going to help make you a better photographer as well as a better post processor, because they do go hand in hand. And I'm not going to be all snotty about it either. I want to try to make this as easy for you to get in and enjoy this craft of photography. It's so much fun to get into this, and that's what this show is all about. So if that's the type of content you enjoy, go ahead and consider subscribing to my show right now. Head on over to Apple Podcasts or Spotify or whatever the heck Google uses for their podcasts, and just subscribe there and give me a nice rating. Leave me a comment to push us up in the good old algorithm so other folks can find the show too. But appreciate that. But let's go ahead and get started with this week's show because I have a guest joining me today. If you've ever heard of that nice, fascinating, awesome historical camera shop up in New York known as Adorama, you've probably seen someone by the name of Seth Miranda roaming around there and roaming around on their YouTube channel that's just giving us all kinds of great information with the Adorama Rewind every week, where there's photography news. He's doing product reviews, and every now and then he gives you his flat out 2 cents about the world of photography. And I am more than honored to finally get a chance to sit down with him. I'm talking about my man, Mr. Seth Miranda. How you doing, brother?
Yeah, I'm chilling, man. Thanks for having me. There's no honor, dude. It's like community, right? There's no hierarchy. There's community or there's no community. And this is how we keep community together.
You know, I appreciate you saying that because it is a community. But again, at the same time, I'm a fan because I've been shopping at Adorama for years, and I've been watching the Adorama channel for I don't know how long, but so I've always seen you and I've always seen Mr. Daniel Norton, and y'all work together on some things. And it was always fun to just see the both of you on the screen, just walking through, you know, how to set up this scene, how to set up this shot, why this shot works this way, why this shot won't work, and so on and so forth. And you do it in plain, good old English that anybody can understand. You know, it's not all of the super mumble jumble tech talk that, you know, no, dude, this is why you need to put this light right here because it's going to do this, period. You know, and I've always appreciated that. So, yeah, I'm glad to have you on. I
appreciate you.
I wanted to bring you on the show and pick your brain a little bit about a couple photographs and pick your brain about just some things in general in the world of photography. The first thing that comes to my mind, though, is the manufacturer wars today. I don't know how many times a week I get emails, I get DMs, I get stuff on our Discord channel. Someone's asking me, what camera should I get? Because I hear this camera brand is better than this, or that camera brand is better than that, and yada, 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 yada. And everybody has these really ridiculous wars and stuff. And I never really thought that was fair because quite frankly, a lot of these manufacturers are pretty dadgum good all around. And there's one brand in particular that I know you have an affinity towards, Nikon. I love what they've been doing over the last couple of years. And personally, I don't think they've been getting their fair credit. They seem to fall behind all the news that Sony does and all the news that Canon does. And yes, I shoot Canon, love my Canon gear, and Canon gets a lot of dadgum press. But people tend to forget about what Nikon is doing in that Z line. Why is that?
There's a lot of reasons for it. And unfortunately, like, I know you've been around a long time. And I think you can remember the days where it wasn't a war. It was more like teams. And you shot this or you shot that, but it's no like, you're stupid for shooting this.
Yeah.
I'm amazingly superior for shooting this. And I think what happened was a lot of people came into our industry from an area that they probably never would have came into our industry to begin with, right? If you told them, hey, every photo you take will cost you money, take you a few days to see it. You're lucky if anyone even sees it because you have to get someone to publish it for you.
Yep.
They'd probably be like, I'm not getting into this. But now you want to shoot it, you want to get it up, published yourself on your own Instagram, whatever.
Yep.
And then you also have to supplement yourself with some other content and you want people to click on that content. So what happens? Everyone gets a rally against some sort of cause, right? So you hear, oh, Nikon, this. I think Nikon made a couple of mistakes in the beginning where they overhyped the system. I'm sorry if you hear the train, by the way. I'm in Brooklyn. It's right by my window.
That's totally fine.
I think they hyped it to a huge level when instead of putting out a mirrorless system that was on par, they tried to make it seem like they changed the world and they weren't even listening to what the world was on already, which was full frame mirrorless.
Right.
That being said, it's really easy for someone to jump in a direction of a narrative that people want to hear. So if a lot of people just got sucked into this industry via a certain brand and they were sold that this brand is awesome, they also want to know that they made the right decision. So they look for content that says that to them. And then the narrative just keeps on, momentum keeps growing. And then what happens is someone new comes into photography, they search best camera, whatever, or worst camera, whatever.
Yeah.
And all the consensus comes in on Google as a YouTube channel. All the thumbnails start saying the same thing.
Yeah.
And they go, oh, well, then Nikon's no good. I take that decision off the table. And now they're talking about the other brands.
Right.
And so Nikon gets left out a little bit. I have shot every brand. I still continue to shoot multiple systems.
Yep.
Nikon is the only one that I've kept in my bag for the 20 plus years I've been doing this. It's never once let me down. So why would I think about building my system all over again from square one when I was totally psyched on the glass? I have all the batteries. I know the color to me is the color I want. You're looking at me on a Nikon right now.
Yep.
I don't think that there's brand wars. It's the brands work together more than you think they don't. I'll tell you that. It's the people that are just trying to be validated for their decisions and people just trying to get them to click on something. Here's the crazy part. Once someone clicks on something, that view number goes up. Even if they don't agree with it, it's still got up in views.
Still a view,
right?
Feed an algorithm.
So it's still and then we people think that the numbers equal credibility instead of going, wait a second, let me cross-check all this facts. Because look what happened. Nikon took a lot of guff, I guess. I'm trying not to curse. So Nikon took a lot of heat, right? And meanwhile, guys like me, Joe McNally, Daniel Norton bought a Nikon after using a Hasselblad. He went to a Nikon. So what happened now is we're seeing Nikon selling really well. They're profitable. What's the difference? People actually got the system in their hands. And guess what? Some people actually like it. Yeah.
And that's something that I've always tried to tell people that ask me, if you're able to, because I know it's a little bit harder nowadays, get to a camera shop and put the body in your hands. I went with Canon years ago because it felt good in my hands. I was this close to going on the Sony route because Sony was starting to, be the revolutionary brand at the time with their mirrorless offerings and things of that nature. But when I picked it up, did not feel right. I wanted no part of it. I didn't think it would be any benefit for me to be uncomfortable trying to frame up a shot with that body. It's just, I didn't care how popular it was. If I'm not comfortable with it, I didn't think it was going to work for me. And that's
the problem is, the trade shows help that. You were able to go to every brand in one day and really decide which philosophy do you like to go with instead of what people are telling you to go with something. And then it becomes like the emperor's new clothes. Like you already own it and you're not even looking at the flaws anymore. Not to say, look, Sony has done incredible things for this industry, the progression of technology. They woke up a lot of sleeping giants out there that I feel we were very stagnant in this industry. But Canon, incredible legacy. We're talking about Nikon and Canon being 100-year-old companies.
Right.
But then you have people who have been shooting for 3 years telling you that they're garbage. I'm sorry, my life depends on my gear.
Right.
If I can't shoot, I'm not paying my rent here in New York, my studio rent in New York.
Right.
Like it's no joke to me what I choose. But to me, it's about the tool that fits for you, the workflow that you understand, the interface that lets you excel, go faster, do more things at once, that elevates you. But the problem was a lot of people recently, actually, it's kind of always been there, were sold the idea that they need to buy specs to be better photographers. And I know this is cliche, but nothing changes about the hands that hold the camera. That's the thing you have to remember, is that you have to invest in yourself. Stop buying into hype. Do I like higher res cameras, faster cameras? Absolutely. It's super fun to have all these tools.
Yeah.
But if you don't understand the image quality you're trying to achieve, or even have had experience of just seeing how Sony color looks like this, how Canon color science is like that, Nikon's dynamic range. And I don't know about you, but one of the things that kills me is people going, oh, it's all Sony sensors anyway. So it's like you are the most ill-informed person on the face of the planet, Because even if they do manufacture the sensors, because there's only a handful of semiconductor manufacturers in the world, Sony makes over 53 or 56% of the world's sensors. Your iPhone has probably has a Sony sensor in it.
Yep.
But the processing of the data off that sensor, the fact that Nikon goes to Sony with a recipe for what they want built, they don't buy something off the shelf. They don't go, what do you have for us, sir?
Right.
Can we have some more? They don't do that. But there's a reason that Nikon colors look different than those Sony colors. There's a reason that the dynamic range is different. Shadow detail, noise level. Look at the noise level you get out of a Z7 II right now at higher ISOs. It's like nothing we've seen in that resolution before.
Yeah.
So, but then again, Canon killing it. R5 noise levels look great. Their EVFs, gorgeous. They're camera manufacturers. They know how to make a camera. I just think we all are leaning, like, let's put it this way. If you told me today, hey, I want to get a camera, but I really want to also get into filmmaking, I probably wouldn't tell you to go into a Nikon, because you're eventually going to want to move into a cinema realm.
Right.
Canon has a cinema line.
Right.
Sony has a cinema line. Lumix.
Yeah.
I mean, why, this is now the thought process changed. Even if I like shooting a Nikon personally, I don't think it's for you.
See, I don't know if I can trust you now, Seth, because that just sounds way too pragmatic.
Throwing big words at me. Hold on, let me Google that. No, kidding.
There's something else I wanted to bring up with you as far as our photography community. And just recently I was speaking with someone, one of our listeners, about, the world of social media and online photography and popularity that comes with it, or the unpopularity that comes with it, because people will put their images out there and feel like, man, this thing looks great. People should just really love my photo. And then nobody really pays it any attention. It doesn't get the likes and all of that good stuff. Or they look into the comments and it turns into this ridiculous criticism war. So
you're all about war. Unbelievable.
These are some of the things that have been bothering me over the years, and I will admit it's getting better. It's getting better, but it's still a little bit of that stuff going on, and I do my best to try not to fall into those pitfalls, because it's pretty bad, and it can bring some people down. But you had an image on here. Let me see if I could pull that image up. I love it. By
the way, I just want to say before you go crazy, I gave Ant a shout out on my show because of the level of positive that he puts into his community. It's very rare to have someone stop bitching and start helping, stop ego feeding and start actually wanting to sew up some of the holes we have in our social aspect of this. So if you're listening to this, if it's your first time, you should really stay plugged in.
Thank you so much, brother. I appreciate that, because it's a mess out there. So much mess, and people are just, they're getting down and out depressed about it. And I'm thinking, no, this is art. It shouldn't be that way. But let me pull that image up that comes to mind. Sure. If my screen will switch. There we go. Not that one.
So funny.
This image. So
Same shoot.
Well, yeah, I guess I lucked out on that timing. But no, this one here, I got this from your Instagram with your permission, of course. Yep. And when I scroll through your Instagram history, I've always thought of one word, intensity. And then I've also just thought of just the simplicity of light. You tend to have a lot of single light usage in there. And every now and then I could see that you throw in a reflector, but it's just the simplest of setup. And it brings these beautiful shots such as this one here. I freaking love this shot, which is why I'm showing it on here. But you told me there's a bit of a story behind this shot. What exactly is the story behind this shot?
Well, that's funny that you said all that, because this is 4 lights.
It's 4?
So, yeah. It's 4
okay. Because I see the key here, and it looks. I figured it was like a reflector up under their chins. But you see her temple line. You see her temple has a glow to it, and you see her temple has a glow to it, and it hits down to the jaw over here. That's a rim, a soft rim. Ah, okay. And what you don't see is a speed light bouncing directly into the floor to just fill in everything. Just another like third of a stop. Okay. Yeah. So the floor is an additional bounce too. Gotcha. Yeah. I tend to use the floor all the time. It's always there. And if it's neutral color, or even if it's wood, you get a nice warm fill to your shadows, but your shadow still exists. So it looks more like organic light than here's my flash. You know? Gotcha. See? Yeah. So. Dropping knowledge, folks. Dropping knowledge. It's funny. I just think it's funny you're pulling these out. I think it's funny you pull these out because everyone pulls out all the grimy, psychotic special effects characters I shoot. And you pulled out like all the nice stuff. You got, And I think it's really funny that you say I do very simplistic stuff, because everyone always makes fun of me for doing so many shutter drags and like gels everywhere and stuff. So it's really interesting to hear your take on it. But this story, end of the day, Marissa on the left, I believe that'll be the left, is the older sister of Robin on the right. And Marissa was helping me out with something, and her sister was going to come pick her up. And she's like, you have to see my sister. She's so gorgeous. If you know Marissa, she sounds like this crazy, excited Muppet. I love her. She's in all of those videos, and it's so funny to watch her pose with you all. I love Marissa Roper. Yeah. Daniel Norton discovered her one day in the Adorama store, and she was like, yeah, I'd love to do it. And now she's making her own films. She's making films now. She went from this like quiet girl that moved to New York to making her own films. It's amazing to watch her grow, and she's becoming a great energy on set. But her sister didn't think about modeling ever, but Marissa was like, you should really take this opportunity. Like, you're in a studio. It's like the stars aligned. He's got stuff out. He's willing to shoot, and she trusted me. So number one, that was a big deal. So thank you, Robin, for trusting me to shoot with you. And I just kept on going. Man, these girls are just beautiful. They have the brightest eyes ever, the reddest hair ever, and I really like the idea of siblings a lot. And just to get this nowhere to hide feel of you're this close to them. When I shoot portraits, I tend to get close. And I think I do that because I like to photograph things you wouldn't normally see. And how often do you pass someone on the street that you would get that close to? Right. So this is how I feel it's there. I mean, you know, they both have little scars on their foreheads. I don't retouch anything. So this is, you know, Marissa has amazing skin. Her sister's beautiful. But look at how their eyes glow. I didn't alter those eyes. That's their eyes, dude. Right. I think I put a little bit of saturation in here. That's why their lips are so punchy. But I wanted to see the difference in the red in their hair. I wanted to see the hair kind of mixed together, that they're from the same blood. And they've been through so much together as sisters, and they're connected, but they're both like they're looking at you, even though they're still connected. Like, there's a lot here for me. I did get a lot of, you know, trash in my DMs from old photographers yelling at me for cutting their heads off. The most tiring thing I ever hear is, why'd you cut their foreheads off? You know why? Because I shoot cinematic style. I like to get in tight, and the brow line to me is where I like to cut off the frame. I mean, that's the first decision you make as a photographer is, what of the rest of the world do I cut out to put in my frame, you know? And I actually love this crop. It would have been fine if it were full, but I love this crop. I think it gives a little bit of visual tension, if that's the word that comes to my mind properly. Visual tension. I also think it's important. Yeah. And I also think it's important to get the crop in camera, because had I shot this wider and cropped in, you wouldn't have that fall off to the ear.
You wouldn't have the same depth of field look, you know. I like my images, my portraits rather, to be so sharp and detailed. It's almost like they're in front of you and you're uncomfortable that they're there in front. I want you to cut your eye on my portraits. It's so sharp.
Nice. I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
Now,
thanks, man.
We've been looking through some of your images, and you talked about the makeup artists and the special effects makeup. It's not just makeup, it's special effects makeup. How in the world did you get involved with that? Because it's pretty grimy, but man, they're beautiful images. And Mr. Victor, he'll throw some up on the screen here. But how did you get involved with that? I mean, there'll be some images of some ghouly looking stuff, and the faces are distorted. And how did you get involved with that?
Number one, I'm a comic book nerd. I'm a movie nerd. I love all that kind of stuff. And I was shooting a lot of stuff that I called docudramas that were very cinematic still style. And they were based on people's issues. And a lot of those issues were violent. So I got into like the science of making fake blood and the anatomy of actual injuries and what they really look like, not just throwing fake blood on a wall and saying there's an injury, but like really thinking about, if it bleeds from here, it's darker. If it's bleeds from here, it's lighter. If they got shot, it sprays differently. If they get stabbed, it bleeds differently. So I just went through, if you get stabbed in the stomach, the blood's darker because you probably have bile and stomach acids mixed in the blood and all sorts of stuff. So that was all stuff I shot based on my model's actual real issues. And I did that for a lot of fine art gallery stuff. And then I left that world. It wasn't what I thought it was. I hated it. And I started working a lot of side jobs. I'm talking cement, screen printing, delivering pizza, everything, And it's funny that you asked me how I got into it, because I think if I didn't, I wouldn't be doing any of it today, any of this at all today. So years ago, I shot a girl's headshots. Didn't talk to her for a few years. I came home from a job screen printing. My clothes were soaked in paint thinner from cleaning out all the ink and stuff. And I'm like, I can't live like this anymore. So I looked at all my photo gear and I said, it's only going to go down in value. I put it all on Craigslist.
What?
The day I put it on Craigslist, it felt like a funeral, right? But I was totally over it. I mean, I couldn't get anywhere. Nothing was happening for me. The industry was changing so fast from film to digital, and I didn't know where I was going to go. Social wasn't a thing. You had to get published by someone wanting to put your stuff in their magazines, and I was getting them, but not at the rate I wanted. Right. So the day I put it up, I get a phone call from the girl I shot those headshots for. And she goes, "Hey, I'm now a lead makeup artist for this brand. And I'm also a teacher at this major makeup school. And they hate what's going on here. Could you come take a shot and quote unquote audition and shoot some makeup for us?" And I was like, "When?" She's like, "Next week. It's 6 days from now." And I said, "Oh man." So I'm getting email to email about the stuff on Craigslist piling up. I'm looking at myself going, all right, am I in or am I out? And what I ended up doing was leaving the Craigslist ad up just in case. But I called up every person I knew that wasn't shy and got them in my apartment, and I lit them every single way I could figure out till I felt I had lighting scenarios that would work for makeup. I went into that school. I shot a beauty class. It went okay. It wasn't like the greatest things I ever shot in the world, but they would like them. And then there was someone doing a demo, and I every time I forget what it was, but I think it was either a zombie or an injury. It was something basic. Mm-hmm. And I said, "Oh my God, you guys do this stuff. I love this stuff. I'm a big this fan. I like that stuff." I said, is anyone shooting this makeup? And she goes, "No, it's a demo. It's just going to be taken off their face and they go home." I was like, "Can I shoot it?" And they said, "Yeah, here's some references." And they showed me all the photos they had from the special effects makeups from the makeup school. Right. And I'm not kidding you. They looked like a DMV of zombies and aliens. It looked like a yearbook from like the most low budget school in the Midwest going. And I'm sitting here going like, these makeups cost a lot of money. They took 3 to 5 hours a piece. You know, I've shot makeups in my career that were $5,000. You know, like there's real levels to this, you know, but this wasn't that level. So I shot the zombie makeup and they didn't say anything to me. And then I get a call and they booked me for the special effects classes. I shoot one special effects class. They signed me to a year of dates. That year turned into 8 years, and that turned into 15 years. And all of that turned into product packaging, screen tests for movies, portfolios, promo for Halloween stuff. I look like I'm wearing a wedding ring. It's actually a breast knuckle. Sorry. What? It's like my bitch. It's a single knuckle breast knuckle. So I always like having it in my hand. But it ended up being a career path that I think what happened for me was I was one of the rare people that took it seriously to a point where the makeup artists didn't feel like they were slighted. Mm-hmm. The money spent on the makeup and the time for the people didn't feel like it was a waste. It wasn't a Party City catalog. It wasn't a Halloween haunted house junk. It was approached as an art form, and I shot it as if those characters existed. I wanted to know their narratives, where they're from, what they ate, what they were feeling, how old they were, where they've been, where they're going. And I kept putting that into the frames, and it just kept on going and going. And you know what? It took me around the world. It was one of the craziest things I ever think about, that if I didn't get that call, if I didn't pick up the phone that day, if I didn't say yes when I thought my career was completely done, I really don't know where I would have been. And I definitely wouldn't have been part of Adorama. I wouldn't have been on the channel. I wouldn't have traveled the world. I wouldn't have been able to shoot all this cool gear. I wouldn't be talking to you, you know? It's crazy, right? It's crazy how that stuff works out. You literally had a shit or get off the pot moment. You did. Well, don't you agree? Like, I'm sure that in your world also, this industry, especially any creative industry, is built on relationships. They have to want to work with you before they even like the work. I totally agree. The work is just the final nail in the coffin that they hired you and they bring you back. But if you don't realize that everybody around you is potential, not just an ally, but a friend, someone that you can bounce ideas off of. Do you think if I didn't talk to other people what gear choices I was making based on their experience. You know, I got to assist some of the coolest guys in New York, in my opinion, and they all steered me in directions of like, well, I like this because of this. I want this type of aperture because of that. And, you know, or one guy that told me, and I'm sure you heard this too, right? Someone you go, I want to buy that expensive 1.2 lens or whatever. Oh, yeah. And then the guy who knows a little better goes, hey, how often do you shoot at 1.2? And you go, well, like, not really. I don't shoot below f8 in the studio. Well, then save that. Grand. You're right. Save that cash. Come on, man. Oh, gosh. You know, it's all discussions. And that's kind of, and you and me growing up, we didn't have discussions like this that we got to sit in on as a podcast listener. We had to be on sets. We had to be next to those people on fields. Going out to the photography community and picking their brains and have them pretty much kick dust on you because you wasn't worthy. And, you know? I mean, when I went to the trade shows, as I was young, I remember seeing all the guys on stage and they were spitting just dumb numbers and dumb garbage vocabulary, and it was dry as hell. And I'm like, you're just, why are you even doing this? You're just feeding your ego. And I looked around and everyone's shooting birds, sports, weddings, and pretty girls with the same evening look. And I said, I guess I'm not supposed to do this because I shoot punks, hardcore shows, BMX, skateboarding, bleeding zombies. I mean, like, I was like, maybe this isn't what I'm supposed to be doing. Nothing looks like me. And that's when I realized a little later, like, I just had to create my own thing. It's the same umbrella. Yeah. And people respect you. If you do what you do and you approach it as a respected thing. Do you think anybody really, when I look at a guy who shoots for Vogue and I tell him, yeah, I shoot zombies, do you think they give me respect? No. But when they look at the shots and see how much goes into it, they start dialing back that attitude pretty quick. Right. You know, it makes a big difference. Now, okay. So you've shared some experiences with shooting with Mr. McNally, your journey. And all of this has been just ridiculously good. Okay. Thank you. But we all know that we are humans and we're going to have our moments as photographers where we just go through a ridiculously craptastic scenario. And I like to call that our eating shit moment. So yeah, I want to hear from you. What was one of those moments in your career where you sat back and just
you thought everything was lined up. You did your location scouting and got everything just good to go. Your models was there. But when it was time to click that shutter, it just wasn't happening. And everything just sort of snowballed into one more craptastic mess. But, you still had to carry on because you still had a job to do.
There's probably a lot of videos you've seen on Adorama TV that we went through absolute hell just to get something out the door on it. And you didn't think it was going to work. You didn't think, okay, how's this? I guess I can tell the story. So the Z7 gets announced. Mm-hmm. This is the biggest moment for Nikon in a decade. Mm-hmm. No one knows what it is. Everyone's going to watch this video and they go, what do you want to do for it? I was like, let me just get a special effects makeup on somebody, because we only had 24 hours from the meeting to delivering this video. That was it. Everything had to happen when nobody was sleeping.
Yeah.
So we have this carousel here in Tribeca. It's called the Sea Glass Carousel. Okay. And the makeup was an aquatic creature that my makeup artist wanted to do. So I was like, all right, whatever you want to do, I just got to have something, whatever you do. I don't even want to see the design. Just get it to me. It's 1 billion degrees. It's August. It's hot. It's gross. Okay.
It's at 1 billion degrees. That's hot.
It's 11 o'clock at night. We're at my studio. We're gearing up. My makeup artist gets started. The makeup takes forever. It's now 1 a.m. And we start getting ourselves together to go to the carousel from Midtown, downtown Manhattan. Mm-hmm. Now the carousel has glowing fiberglass fish in it. And I was like, I am going to shutter drag my brains out. Mm-hmm. I'm going to make all this underwater look. The catch to this, which people don't know about these product videos, is if they're brand new products that are pre-released, the brands don't want them out in the wild, right? Because then you get what happened at the Olympics and people take pictures of them. Yep. So because it was a carousel, we had to block out the carousel. Oh, it's 1 billion degrees, and we take black set paper and wrap the entire carousel. This isn't a small carousel. I'm talking, probably like 2 or 3 rolls of 9-foot seamless paper around. So now all the lights blocked out, and I'm like, this is great. I'm going to have just the light from the fiberglass, and it's going to be glowing, and I'm going to have the sea banshee thing. It's going to be amazing. Right. But the very top of the carousel has a hole in it that's about 5 feet wide. Mm-hmm. And it's still nighttime out, but my makeup artist isn't done. Yeah. Dawn is coming out. Dawn is breaking. Sun is coming up, and all of a sudden light starts pouring into the carousel. The clock is ticking. We have only until about, I think, 9 a.m. And then they have to activate the carousel for daily use. So the rental is over. Yep. Light is pouring in, and my makeup artist and my model are stuck in traffic. Oh, no. It is. So I am with a prototype camera that no one's ever touched before. To see it. Oh, jeez. With unfinished firmware that I'm sure that there was pre-production issues that that's just what happens. That they're not finished when you're doing prototypes. Yep. The carousel is getting extremely hot inside. My shirt is like see-through. By the time the model showed up, it was bright sunlight pouring in. I lost the whole thing I was going for. If you look at the video, I still got the lights to show up. I adjusted everything. I had 1,000 speed lights everywhere. Wasn't the shot I wanted, but we got it done. But by the time she got there, and I'm not exaggerating, I had 17 minutes from the second she stepped in to when we had to have all of our gear loaded out. No. 100%. No. 100% loaded out. 17 minutes? So everything you saw in that video from when the model got in there was 17 minutes. It was so fast that Nikon and everybody gave me a chance to finish more shots by going back to my studio and doing some studio stuff with it to really show all the image quality. And that was the second half of the video. If you watch the very last of that video where I'm signing off, you can see my eyeballs are about to fall out of my head and I couldn't breathe anymore. But we got it done. And you know what I woke up to the next day, Ant, when the video rolled up? Why is there only one card slot? What is this? That's all I got to hear. That's what my trophy was at the end of that day. So that was a tough one. But you know what though? And I know you feel this when it's hard and you come through, That's the honor.
Right.
That's the honor of the game.
Right.
Is that you were able to handle it.
Yeah.
17 minutes. I'll remember that for the rest of my life.
You got it done. We're definitely going to have to link to that in the show notes. That's a hell of a story.
Not my best shots. Not my best shots. Not my best shots. The thumbnail was cool. And that was about the only shot I was kind of into. Yeah, that's what I ended up with. We see how much light is pouring in from the top. And those are some weak little LEDs in there. Oh. So, yeah.
Oh, jeez. But you're still triumphant though, man. You're still triumphant though. That's the thing. You got through it. You're battle tested is what we call that.
Yeah, but don't you think like you go into shoots and you have this expectation, but your client doesn't know what you're expecting. And if you deliver something that's good, you probably could have figured it out or done something if you had some different circumstance, but they're okay with it. You go and you go on to the next.
I've done that. I've done that. It's part of the game, man. It's part of the game, bro. This has just been so fun and ridiculous because you're one of the good ones out there, Seth. You are.
Thanks, bro.
I love watching your channel and I love what you're doing with trying to teach people this craft of photography and letting them know, hey, it's okay to screw up here and there. Just learn from it. And you're going to have some bad days. You're going to have some interesting comments in YouTube and that makes no sense, but just keep creating. I love that.
Yeah. You can't listen to what people are willing to waste their lives writing in a comment when they could be going and listen, you don't like the way I shoot. You think you could have done it better? Calm down on the keyboard, go shoot, post it, and let me see what you would have done.
Yeah.
Because you don't know. You don't know what it was like, and you don't know what it took to get to that point. I mean, you say my work's intense, but like, I feel like in this day, don't you feel that your work has to have something that stands out aside from it just being nice? Like people have to connect with it. They have to remember that they saw it. And if it invokes an emotion like intense or they're uncomfortable, then they'll remember what I put out there.
It's so true. It's so true.
I don't know what else you were going to pull up, but, portraits for me portray the person that you're shooting. It's not just, let me just get Rembrandt lighting for the zillionth time because I like Rembrandt lighting. I can't stand that. Can't stand it. Stop with the Rembrandt.
See, there's another one of your great portraits,
That's from a demo. That was live on Adorama. I shot that. And I did way more tricks with that. It's funny that you take the one that's a single light. And I did one that was like all like flares and stuff. You're weird, man.
Well,
you like my...
I love low key. I love low key.
Low key.
That's going to always grab me. So I love low key. But this one here, though, this one probably takes the cake from me. We talked about this pre-show briefly. But again, it's all about this. There's just some sort of a level of intensity when I see this. I don't know if it's the pose. I don't know if it's her facial expression or what, but it just screams Seth Miranda, just strictly business, intensity, beautiful piece of art. You're dealing with some backlighting here. Walk me through this shot before we get out of here. Cause this is just, wow, dude.
It's funny because you have to start asking yourself, what are you trying to shoot? Are you just trying to show off a lighting technique, or are you actually shooting a frame for the model? Are you doing a real portrait? And this was a video on Adorama TV that a lot of people probably skipped over because it was a video to highlight a friggin' hard drive, a great hard drive, an SSD. But the point of the hard drive was it's so fast. So I said, cool, let me tether directly to it. And then if I'm going to shoot on Adorama TV, which is 1 million subscribers, I'm going to go hard. Yeah. So this is switching my white balance over to, actually this is before I did the white balance. Like this is a green filter on my lens. Okay. That was, oh my gosh, I'm trying to remember. High Format, I think was the name of the brand, but it's calibrated for white balance, not color. Okay. So the daylight pouring in, I thought was just boring. It just was like, it's daylight, who cares? So I switched to green, which is amazing with redheads. And now because my whole shot's green, I need neutral light on her. Well, what's neutral to green? Magenta. So I have minus green gels on my strobes so that when it hit her, it neutralized on my sensor. And the daylight goes green. So all that stuff going over her thigh, rimming out her hair, over her shoulder. Keeps it organic because that's really what the light was doing. But had it been all neutral light, she doesn't really stand out. She doesn't really.
Right.
There's no depth. And I like having a lot of layers. I mean, just, the texture of the wood on the floor, the shape of the window, the perspective of her to that window.
The fact that you framed her inside of the window. It's a frame in a frame.
Thanks, man. Yeah. And people think I edited the hell out of this thing. But if you watch the video, you see the tether. And this is exactly what came up on the tether. I'm not into clicking a mouse. I'm not into pushing pixels around.
Yeah.
I'm into making the light happen. And it's mainly because I'm lazy as hell. I don't.
He's lazy when
I'm done shooting, I'm over the shot. Like I don't even want to look through them anymore. Like that's just kind of how I've always been. I'm like, I'll go. I haven't posted anything in I don't even know, man.
So I think we got a new tagline for you: the lazy photographer, Seth Miranda.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. I try. But but that being said, the moral of that shot is there's always a way to make it yours, and there's always a way to make it different. And also watch every video on Adorama, because even if you don't think you like it, there's a shot going on that you might think is cool. So that SSD video was one of my favorites. Only 2 minutes, and I guarantee you nobody would watch it. But then I used this technique for cosplay, and because I dialed it in on other shoots, and I used it for crazy big costumes, and it works really well for that. So you build your techniques like a card deck, a Rolodex. Remember those, buddy?
Yep.
So before we go, I'll just say my method of shooting is: 1, get that ultra clean, standard, safe shot that isn't boring, but still an elevated level.
Right.
2, switch it up to a technique and something you are logically putting in there that'll work. And then 3, throw something completely against the wall before you're done in the last 5 minutes and see how it happens for that subject.
A bit of
if
a
it
why
starts
not.
working out. Yep. And then after that, the next time you shoot, it might become your number 2 shot. That's the variable. So it's really get the job done that they want you to get done. Give them something extra that they weren't expecting, and then just throw something against the wall. They have fun with it. It shows your adventures. They remember who you are, and you might get a new technique. I've always shot like that, and I hope more people start shooting like that. It's enough of the Rembrandt lighting. Stop. Start making lighting you want to make. Okay, stop. It's not. It needs a triangle here. Shut up.
Be
stop.
careful. You're pissing off a whole lot of purists with that. Now you should not talk poorly about Rembrandt.
Unfollow me. I don't care. Well, don't you think that people put formulas in play when they shoot rather than shoot? Don't you think that that's a thing?
Right. Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just crazy.
No, you're not just crazy. You're not just crazy. You're somewhat crazy, but not totally crazy. I give you that.
Nah, it's cool, man. Yeah, dude, if you're not a little clicked, if you're not a little thinking outside the box, how are you working creatively?
That's true. That's true. All of the greats have some form of an edge to them where they just went outside of the box and created something that was just considered ridiculous at the time to all of the masses that ended up just blowing up. It seems that that's pretty much the standard now. It's that one little bit of edge that says, oh, that's you that created that. So yeah, I totally feel you.
Yeah. It's funny because Joe was the first guy to ever tell me, when you think you got it, don't stop, because the next few frames where you start pushing that tiny inch over the line, and you've got the light, you've got the frame. Well, you forgot about that subtle look that you want to see on their mouth or something. It's this one more frame. And then there's Daniel's method, which is just keep shooting till it looks bad.
I love him.
You got to have him on here.
Yeah, I got to get Mr. Daniel Norton on here too soon. I'll be reaching out to him. He's a good one.
I know a guy. Don't worry. I know a guy.
Well, my man, thank you so much for this. This has been great. Absolutely. Tell everybody where they can find your work, what you're working on, and things that you're doing for Adorama, or even if you're doing some live streaming. Where do people find you? You can find me on every social platform at Last X Witness.
check out my work on Instagram. Join me live on Twitch. You can also yell at me on Twitter. And I am also live on Adorama's channels throughout the week. So check out Adorama TV. Check out Adorama's Instagram when they go live. And check out Adorama XP on Twitch. That's also a channel. There's also a Discord you can join full of photo nerds like Ant that will help you troubleshoot and not be toxic. So come hang out.
That's the thing. Not being toxic. Awesome.
How hard is that?
For real.
How hard is it?
For real. My man, thank you again so much for your time. I really do appreciate you coming on.
Oh, you know what? I actually remembered a bad time. Damn. I had a girl throw up on me. I had a girl throw up on me when she was a zombie.
Wait, what? Wait a minute. Hold on.
Yeah. I just
threw up on you? Okay.
Yeah.
We're not into the show just yet. You do tell,
okay.
Please.
All right. Yeah. So one of the things about special effects makeup that people don't understand is that there's chemicals and things and substrates that have smells to them and can be kind of gross, right? They're meant to look gross. So for zombie blood, what they do is they put instant coffee in the blood to make it look more decayed. And the smell of instant coffee and the already fake blood, we had a girl dressed up as a zombie for the first time ever. And she was an adventurous woman, fantastic. And there was something just about the smell of the zombie blood that was right in her mouth, under her nose. You know, she's partially like sight is partially messed up because of the contacts and all this other stuff. We had disgusting hair gel in her hair to make it like really weighed down and greasy looking. And I'm firing strobes. And the next thing I knew, she just threw up all over me. And it went all inside my light, my fill light. It was all over my shoes. And, you know, to my credit, the first thing I thought about was grabbing her so she didn't pass out.
Right.
So I have vomit on my shoes, fake blood all over my shirt. My light is covered in vomit.
Oh, gosh.
And the smell just got way worse in that studio. Other people are starting to gag. They're running out of the room. And I'm trying to get this poor girl to a stable position and get her cleaned up. And I don't even know if I got the shot. I can't remember. It was only like 4 or 5 frames deep. So I probably have something standard, nothing crazy. But that poor girl... and it happens. People get disoriented in special effects makeup. They've been sitting for hours. They might have their eyes covered. I mean, all sorts of stuff. So
that's tough. That's tough. I salute you for taking care of her. I salute you for taking care of her and making sure that she's okay. But man, that's
number one. You always make sure your talented is okay. Gear can be replaced. You can start and reset something over again. Mm-hmm. Make sure they're okay. You don't want to start questioning people's safety out there. So be careful with that. I did have to throw those shoes out, though. I didn't even try. I just threw them straight out. Poor girl. Poor girl.
I have heard it all. Man, dude. Yeah. Bro, this has been fun. This has been fun. This is one for the ages. You know, we've been talking back and forth over text and email, and you warned me this is not going to be our typical hands-on photography. And hot damn, you lived it up, brother.
It's just a convo. It's just a conversation. You know what I mean? Like, I think we've lost that. It turns into bullet points and short listicles.
That's it.
No, we are human. Mm-hmm. We're allowed to be human. And especially when you have someone that's on the same wavelength, you're in the same battle.
Yep.
You already start off at a precedent. You know, if I try to talk to someone about some of the stuff that's never touched a camera, they're like, I don't know how hard that is. So I don't know what you're talking about. So.
They won't get it. Whatever, they won't get it. All right, brother. Thank you so much for being on. I really do appreciate you. Take care now.
Of course.
Yep. All right, everybody. That was the man, Seth Miranda. Wow, y'all. I have no words. And like I said, he did warn me beforehand to say, you know what, we're going to have some fun on this chat. And we did. I am so grateful for him hanging out with us today. Folks, again, feel free to send me any type of comments, feedback, questions, image critique requests. Just shoot him an email to hop@twit.tv. I love hearing from you, and I love sharing different information and tips that's going to help make things better for you in this photography world. Or you can also give me a follow on the social medias. I am Ant_Pruitt on Twitter. I am also Ant_Pruitt on Instagram. Give me a follow over there. I do enjoy talking to everybody on the socials. It's a lot of fun because some of y'all are quite out there. It's pretty funny. But yeah, until next time, I really do appreciate all of the support. Keep sharing the show. Keep giving the ratings in Apple Podcasts. Shout out to my man, Mr. Victor, for making me look and sound good each and every week. And folks, we will see you all next time. Now, safely create and dominate, and we'll catch you next time. Take care.
No ads, just the content. That's what you get when you join Club Twit. You even get extras like Twit Plus, our new bonus feed just for members, and exclusive access to the Club Twit Discord community. Join now for just $7 a month and support Twit as we continue to create top-notch podcasts you expect and deserve. We're just getting started, so be one of the first to join as we build Club Twit from the ground up. You could be an early member. Go to twit.tv/clubtwit to learn more and sign up now. Thanks.